Does your inner critic ever give you grief? Does it tell you that you're not good enough, you're not a good enough writer, maybe you should just give up this writing thing and go paint houses or something?
You might have had a writing teacher that told you to kill off your inner critic. That's pretty extreme, but there's been probably more than one time in your writing life when you did want to turn to your inner critic and just tell it to shut its trap and go away and be quiet.
I certainly have felt that. I used to have a pretty vicious inner critic, given my academic background. But I'm here to tell you that the Imaginative Storm method is the solution. And this is why. Because it turns your inner critic into your inner coach.
Your inner critic is not there to undermine you. It's actually there to help you. It just doesn't know quite what to do.
So it knows you have certain standards of good writing. It knows you want to uphold them. And that's perfectly reasonable. It's fine. You want to write well. I want to write well. Nave wants to write well. But the problem is that hearing, that's not good writing. That's not good enough. That sucks. It doesn't make your writing any better. And in fact, in my experience, it tends to make it worse.
Now, there's nothing wrong with having standards, but you don't want to be held to a standard that doesn't apply. For example, a new driver isn't doing it wrong because they can't drive in the Formula One races.
Also, you want to be supported, not chastised as you go about meeting your creative standards. A great coach doesn't criticize their players. They praise them. They point out what you're doing right. So if your inner critic didn't have good role models, it may need to learn to praise and appreciate rather than criticize.
So what standards should you give your inner critic to turn your inner critic into your inner coach?
And the first one is that it needs to understand that you're generating material. You're not actually writing. So its standard of good writing is not relevant right now while you're generating material. What you're looking for, as we said, is good material.
So here's what you can praise yourself for. And when you praise yourself, by extension, you train your inner critic to be your inner coach. So the first thing, praise yourself for having words on the page.
No writer's block. And any word or phrase, image, or thought, however half-baked, that intrigues you, that piques your curiosity, that has a sort of pop of energy to it.
And anything that comes out that feels to you like it's something new that you've never thought before, or you have an idea that's never been there before, praise yourself.
And so if you get just one little moment, any of those things, in a 10-minute piece of writing, you have more than succeeded. Your inner coach can, practice being a really good coach. It can whoop, it can holler, but maybe it's not quite that demonstrative. It can just give you a little pat on the back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Your inner coach and you have a collaborative relationship, or you can have a collaborative relationship, and that's what we are encouraging you to practice now. So here are some of the things that you can teach your inner coach to look for. Am I letting my imagination take the lead? That's a good question to ask.
Am I experimenting and exploring and playing?
Am I letting my work be messy?
But can I read my writing just barely well enough?
Am I sounding like me, or am I trying to sound like somebody else?
And the most important thing in retraining your inner critic into your inner coach is, are you remembering not to criticize yourself?